Stepping onto the stage of life, some become the center of attention, while others remain in the shadows, like ghosts that left no trace. The mystery of this difference lies not in what they do, but in who they are. The power hidden in their presence merges with something that eludes most. This video is based on Nietzsche's philosophy and will be of interest to those who seek a deeper understanding or are just beginning their journey into the world of philosophy. Well then, let us begin. Do not rush to unfold yourself before the world. What is given too easily is discarded just as quickly. The essence of power is not in endless self-exposure, but in the deliberate withholding of self. You are not an open book for casual perusal. You are an ancient manuscript, with pages sealed by time, whispering only to those patient enough to decipher their meaning. A man who reveals all at once exhausts his presence in an instant. His words, his gestures, his very being, immediately grasped, immediately forgotten. But the one who holds back, who leaves traces instead of conclusions, lingers in the minds of others. They return to him in their thoughts, turning him over like a puzzle whose answer always seems just beyond reach. That is the essence of true presence, to live not only in the moment but in the echoes that follow. Your mystery is not deception, it is power. It is the gravity that draws others in without force, the silent command that demands attention without begging for it. A concealed truth is more intoxicating than an unveiled one, for what is half seen is imagined grander than what is fully revealed. This is why legends endure and ordinary men fade. Legends leave spaces for others to fill, while ordinary men explain themselves into irrelevance. Do not chase after validation. Do not spill your soul in the desperate hope of being understood. Be the locked door, the unread letter, the storm on the horizon. Make others lean in, not because you beg to be heard, but because silence, when placed right, is louder than speech. Those who understand will stay. Those who demand everything at once will pass you by, and that is how it should be. A mind that cannot bear mystery is a mind that seeks only comfort, not greatness. If you wish to be remembered, do not surrender yourself too easily. Let them wonder. Let them wait. Let them crave the answer that only you can give. Charisma is not a gift, it is a weapon. There is no fate, no divine decree that grants a man presence. You are not born to be followed, admired, or remembered. If you stand unnoticed, if your words fall flat, if your presence dissolves into the air like mist, know this, it is not destiny but neglect. Charisma is not granted, it is taken, forged, sharpened like a blade against the stone of awareness. It is not a light bestowed upon the chosen few, it is a fire built by those who dare to command the elements. Every movement you make, every syllable that escapes your lips, these are not accidents. They are instruments, tools of control, forces that shape the world around you. The weak stumble through life, unaware of the weight of their own gestures, the power in their silence, the gravity in their glance. They walk without purpose, speak without force, and wonder why the world does not bend to them. But those who understand, those who grasp that presence is a matter of precision, not providence, become the ones whom others cannot ignore. Their voice does not ask to be heard, it compels attention. Their steps do not merely touch the ground, they claim space. Their words are not scattered into the wind. They anchor themselves in the minds of those who listen, returning again and again, long after they have fallen silent. Do not deceive yourself into thinking that charisma belongs to others, to the lucky, to the naturally gifted. This is the lie of the passive, the excuse of the invisible. The truth is this: every movement is a choice. Every look is a statement. Every word is a ripple that will either vanish into nothingness or carve its mark upon the world. What you do with that knowledge is yours alone to decide. Will you remain as you are, unseen, unheard, easily replaced? Or will you take what is yours, sculpt your presence, shape your voice until the world has no choice but to listen? Charisma is not a gift. It is a weapon. Wield it. The spine of power. Stand as if you own the world. A man's presence is not first heard, it is seen. Before you speak, before your words carve their place into the minds of others, your posture has already declared who you are. Do you stand as one who commands, or do you shrink like one who seeks permission to exist? The world does not listen to the hunched, the hesitant, the ones who fold into themselves as if apologizing for taking up space. The slouched back, the darting eyes, the restless hands. These are silent confessions of uncertainty, of a spirit that has already surrendered. You may speak with wisdom, you may even hold the truth itself, but if your body whispers defeat, the world will believe it before your words are ever heard. Straighten your spine, and you will feel it, a shift, a reclamation, an unspoken declaration. Your presence expands, your energy spreads like an invisible force, and suddenly the air around you belongs to you. The room notices. People turn. Something about you demands acknowledgement, though they cannot name it. It is not magic, it is the physics of power. Animals know this instinctively. The lion does not slouch. The eagle does not lower its gaze. They do not need permission to be seen. They exist in full force, unapologetically, as if the world itself is their rightful throne. And so must you. You may believe that confidence begins in the mind, but the body is its birthplace. Move with certainty, and certainty will grow within you. Walk as if the ground beneath you is honored to hold your weight. Let your movements be deliberate, your stillness absolute. The world follows those who move as if they belong to it. Your spine is not just bone and flesh, it is the pillar upon which your presence stands. Strengthen it, and the world will feel it before you utter a single word. The power of silence. Those who listen rule. The world is filled with noise. Voices clamor for attention, words spill endlessly, and yet, so few are truly heard. The weak believe that dominance lies in speech, in filling the air with their presence, in drowning out others to ensure they themselves are noticed. They mistake volume for impact, mistaking endless words for true influence. But the ones who hold real power know otherwise. To speak less is not to be absent. It is to be precise. It is to let silence work in your favor. The most magnetic figures in history, the ones whose words remain long after their voices have faded, were not those who spoke the most, but those who understood that true presence is not in the noise, it is in the weight of what is left unsaid. A man who listens is dangerous. He gathers, he absorbs, he learns what others reveal without knowing they have spoken too much. He does not waste his breath proving himself. He lets others unveil their weaknesses while he remains unreadable. When he finally speaks, his words carry the force of something calculated, something sharpened by patience, something that cannot be ignored. The world is drawn to those who do not demand attention but command it effortlessly. Their silence is not absence. It is a presence more profound than any storm of words. When they finally break it, they do not speak to be heard, they speak to be remembered. Resist the urge to fill the air. Let others exhaust themselves. Listen, absorb, wait. And when the time comes to speak, strike like thunder. The imprint of presence, be remembered or be forgotten. Most people pass through life like shadows, fleeting, weightless, leaving no mark on the world, no trace in the minds of those they meet. They speak, they shake hands, they exchange pleasantries, but the moment they turn away, they vanish. Their presence dissolves into nothingness, as if they were never truly there. This is the fate of the ordinary. This is the death of influence. You must not allow yourself to be among them. When you enter a room, it must change. When you leave, something of you must remain. The essence of power is not in mere existence. It is in the ability to make others feel as though they have touched something rare, something that lingers in their thoughts long after you are gone. This is not about arrogance, nor about seeking admiration. It is about significance, about ensuring that no encounter with you is ever dismissed as trivial. Let your words be more than sound. Let them leave echoes. Let your presence be more than sight. Let it be an imprint upon the very air. A king does not need to announce his royalty. His presence carries its own weight. A storm does not need to declare itself. Its arrival shifts the world. And so must you. Carry yourself as if fate itself placed you where you stand. Look at others as if you see something within them that they themselves have yet to discover. Let them walk away from you not merely remembering a conversation, but feeling as though, for a brief moment, they glimpsed something greater, within you, or perhaps even within themselves. The greatest mistake is to be forgettable, to be just another name, another face, another moment lost in the stream of time. If you are to walk this world, walk it in such a way that no one who crosses your path can ever call it coincidence. The tyranny of facts. Speak to the soul, not the mind. The world worships information. Men drown in details, believing that knowledge alone wields power. They stack their words like bricks, hoping to build something grand, yet all they create is noise, cold, lifeless, easily forgotten. They do not see the truth. The mind may absorb facts, but only the soul remembers fire. No one recalls every word of a great speech, but they remember how it made their blood stir. No one memorizes the details of a legend, but they carry its essence in their bones. A single image, a single feeling, outlives 1,000 explanations. That is the nature of true influence, not to instruct, not to overwhelm, but to ignite something deeper than thought. Speak not like a scholar dissecting the world, but like a poet setting it ablaze. Do not catalog events, paint them in the colors of experience. Let your words be storms, let them be whispers that linger, let them not just inform but transform. A fact is a stone, it may be solid, but it does not move. A story, an image, an emotion. These are rivers, these are winds, these are forces that carve through time itself. The weak believe that to be remembered, they must say more. The wise know that to be unforgettable, they must say less, but with the weight of thunder. Choose your words not as a man piling stones, but as a sculptor who knows that meaning is born not in excess, but in precision. Let every sentence breathe, let it live, let it carry the pulse of something greater than mere knowledge. Facts fade, emotion lingers, and in the end, the world does not remember what it was told, it remembers how it was made to feel. The power of the unmasked, where no false crowns. Nothing repels the human soul more than the stench of pretense. The world is filled with men who build themselves out of borrowed gestures, stolen words, and hollow confidence that cracks under the weight of a single glance. They wear masks, but the eyes betray them. They speak loudly, but the silence between their words screams insecurity. They believe that strength lies in deception, yet there is no weakness more pathetic than the fear of being seen as one truly is. The world does not admire perfection, it admires presence. A man who stands firm in his uncertainty commands more respect than one who hides behind brittle illusions. To admit one does not know, to stand in doubt yet remain unshaken, to falter yet not cower, this is not weakness, but the deepest kind of strength. You do not need to convince the world of your greatness. You do not need to polish every flaw into oblivion. Let them see the rawness of your being. Let them witness the fire, even if it flickers. A dim but honest flame is mightier than the brightest artificial light. False confidence is a suit of armor made of paper. It collapses at the first touch. But sincerity, even in uncertainty, is unbreakable. The world senses when a man stands in truth, when he does not seek approval but merely exists as he is, unapologetic, unmasked, undeniable. If you are unsure, wear it with dignity. If you are afraid, do not disguise it, own it. There is nothing more magnetic than a man who does not scramble to be more than he is, yet dares to become more. The false are forgotten. The real remain. The subtle power of command. Speak like the wind, not the storm. There is a fine line between presence and invasion. The world bends to those who speak with certainty, but it repels those who force their voice upon it. The true power of influence lies not in overwhelming others, but in becoming something they cannot ignore. The great speakers of history, those who commanded the deepest respect, did not shout to be heard. They whispered, and the world leaned in. It is easy to fill the air with words, to flood the space around you with opinions, ideas, and desires. But in doing so, you drown the very thing that draws others to you, the space, the silence, the room to breathe. A man who fills every moment with his voice is not a leader, he is a tyrant. He does not command respect, he demands it. But real command is never a demand. It is the invitation that others cannot resist. Speak with the quiet assurance of someone who knows their worth, but allow the listener to come to you, not through force, but through desire. Speak as one who does not need validation, but who offers truth, without coercion, without force. Let your words stand like a rock in a river, calm and unmoving. Those who need them will flow toward them. Those who do not will pass by. The key to influence is not to speak more, but to speak when it matters. It is not the volume of your voice, but the weight of your presence. Those who speak in certainty but leave room for others to listen become the ones who are heard, not because they demand attention, but because they have earned it without ever having to ask. Do not shout. Do not force your will. Let your words be a magnet, but let others decide whether or not they are drawn. Speak with confidence, yes, but speak with the quiet power of one who knows that their voice will always find its way to those who are ready to hear it. The power of unanswered questions. Let minds wander. There is a subtle art in the world of influence, a craft that few truly understand. The art of leaving things unsaid, of allowing the silence to breathe, of allowing others to wrestle with their own minds. We are taught to argue, to convince, to prove. But the greatest minds, those who have shaped history, did not shout their truths. They planted seeds and walked away, leaving others to ponder, to doubt, to question their own beliefs. In conversation, there is strength not in overpowering, but in withholding. To assert is to force. To provoke is to open a door and then leave it for the other to step through. Those who attempt to win every argument miss the true essence of dialogue. The most magnetic individuals do not strive to change minds. They strive to open them. When you refuse to engage in the battle of persuasion, when you allow space for curiosity and uncertainty, you place yourself above the fray. You do not lower yourself to the level of arguing for victory. Instead, you create room for thought, for reflection. In this space, the listener is left not with answers, but with a hunger for more. And in that hunger, they will return to you, drawn by the power of unresolved questions, of mysteries that beg for discovery. To challenge without demanding an answer is to awaken the mind to a greater possibility. The wise understand this. They do not need to win. They need only to plant a thought so potent that it cannot be shaken, so delicate that it survives beyond the moment of its birth. Remember, the greatest respect is earned not by speaking louder, but by knowing when to remain silent. Speak in ways that invite reflection, not submission. Those who can leave their words hanging in the air, unresolved, are the ones whose thoughts will linger far longer than any argument ever could. The circle of influence. Become the company you keep. We are creatures of energy, born into the currents of the world, endlessly shaped by the forces we encounter. Yet, what most fail to see is that the most powerful of these forces are not the circumstances or the events that happen to us, but the people we choose to surround ourselves with. You are not only a reflection of your thoughts, your actions, or your circumstances. You are the sum of those who orbit your existence. If you wish to alter your energy, your essence, your very presence, look not inward but outward. The company you keep is the unseen sculptor of your spirit. We can talk of willpower and self-discipline, but there is no force more transformative than the magnetic pull of those whose minds and hearts burn with an intensity that cannot be ignored. When you walk among such individuals, your own soul catches fire. You cannot remain indifferent to their energy. It alters the very air you breathe, pulling you higher, forcing you to evolve. Imagine the difference between standing in a room of mediocrity and standing in the presence of greatness. The first leaves you stagnant, ensnared in the grip of comfort, whereas the second demands something of you, something raw, something profound. Greatness is contagious. It is not an isolated force, but a shared fire. And when you surround yourself with those who challenge, who create, who dare to think differently, your energy shifts. You can no longer shrink into the shadows. You are compelled to rise. But beware, this influence does not come without its dangers. To align yourself with those who are mediocre, who have given up on growth, who live in the shallow end of existence, this too will change you. You will become the quiet murmur of their defeat, the dim light of their indifference. The energy of others is a subtle poison or elixir, depending on the source. If you are to shape your destiny, if you are to grow into the force you are always meant to be, you must seek out those who do not live according to the rules of the ordinary. The ones who burn with passion, who question, who challenge the world and themselves. These are the ones who will not only change the course of your life, they will change the very essence of who you are. Your charisma is not something you simply cultivate alone in the silence of your thoughts. It is a living, breathing thing, growing in response to the company you keep. So choose wisely. For your energy, your magnetism, your very being, depends on it. The silence of strength. Create, don't destroy. There is a quiet power in the way a truly charismatic individual speaks. It is not a voice that clings to the empty air, searching for pity or approval. It is not a voice that drips with the venom of complaint, nor does it labor under the weight of constant dissatisfaction. No, the truly magnetic person speaks with the force of one who has mastered their inner turmoil. Their words do not bleed weakness, they bleed creation. The world is filled with those who gather in the shadows of their grievances, who see only what is wrong, who speak endlessly of their burdens. They are like storm clouds, endlessly swirling with frustration, but never bringing relief. And those who listen to them, those who allow their energy to be absorbed into that endless lament, walk away drained, lesser than they were before. But the charismatic individual, the one who commands presence, does not feed into this noise. They do not collapse into the trap of complaining, for they understand that the world does not bend to the will of the weak. The world bends to the will of those who rise above it, who stand firm in the midst of chaos, who speak not from a place of defeat, but from a place of creation. It is not enough to simply survive. One must transcend the storms of life. A charismatic individual understands this truth implicitly. They shape the space they enter. They do not seek pity, they offer strength. They do not waste energy in words that tear down. They use their words to build, to inspire, to create an atmosphere of possibility. They walk into a room and it changes. Their presence commands it. The difference between strength and weakness lies in how one speaks of their struggles. To complain is to be bound to your problems, to acknowledge them as insurmountable. But to speak of your challenges with grace, to acknowledge them without drowning in them, is to rise above them. To create, rather than destroy. This is the essence of charisma. Those who have mastered this art shape the world around them. They do not beg for sympathy. They offer something far more valuable. They offer the chance to see the world not as it is, but as it could be. Do not be a storm that scatters all in its path. Be the quiet force that shapes the air, the earth, and the hearts of those around you. For in silence, in strength, in creation, there lies true power. And this is the power that endures. The power of the voice, the sound that commands. There is a truth buried deep within the human spirit that many overlook. Words themselves are mere vessels, fragile things that can only carry meaning so far. It is the voice, the vessel that delivers them, that holds true power. A voice, when cultivated and perfected, does not merely convey thoughts, it ignites them. It does not simply communicate, it consumes, it seduces, it shapes the very atmosphere around it. Think of the great voices that have echoed through history. They did not belong to the loudest or the most bombastic. They belonged to those who understood the art of sound. The power of the voice lies not in volume, but in depth. It is not the force with which you speak, but the warmth and resonance that carries your words into the hearts of others. Your voice is the most primal of instruments. It is not just a tool for speaking. It is a medium for expressing something far greater than mere language. A warm voice wraps itself around the listener, like a cloak that provides comfort, confidence, and intimacy. It draws people in, magnetizes them to your presence, and compels them to listen, not because of what you say, but because of how you say it. The vibration of your voice reaches deeper than the mind. It touches the soul. Do not waste your energy trying to speak louder or faster. The most powerful voices are often those that speak slowly, carefully, with intent. It is not about filling the air with sound. It is about making every word count, letting your voice move through the silence like a current. In that space, in the pauses between each sentence, true power resides. A warm, confident tone, a voice that carries certainty without arrogance, comfort without neediness. This is the voice that lingers. It is the voice that commands attention without asking for it. It is the voice that makes people feel as though they have been chosen to hear the most important truth in the world, a truth that only you, in that moment, can share with them. Your words may fade, but the impact of your voice endures. Work not just on what you say, but how you say it. For a voice that is both warm and confident is a voice that does not need to compete for attention. It owns the space it inhabits, and in that ownership, it commands everything within its reach. Let your voice be the sound of power, of grace, of undeniable presence. The silent strength of calm, mastery in the chaos. In the midst of chaos, there is a certain kind of power that can never be challenged, the power of calm. When the world around you erupts into conflict, when the air is thick with tension, there is a force greater than any verbal assault, any emotional outburst. It is the force of a steady mind, a composed soul. To lose oneself in the frenzy of a dispute is to surrender to the very thing that seeks to undermine you. Emotions flare, words are weapons, and logic becomes a casualty of the moment. But the individual who can stand untouched, who remains calm when all around him crumbles into frenzy, does not merely survive, he wins. The chaos that swallows others is nothing more than a storm that passes over him, leaving him standing unscathed, stronger than before. True power does not lie in reacting, in meeting aggression with aggression or anxiety with fear. The greatest force lies in the ability to choose one's response, to stand unshaken in the face of hostility, to meet the storm with a mind as calm as the eye at its center. In this stillness, you become the one who controls the environment. Your silence becomes a fortress, your composure a weapon far sharper than any sharp words. When you remain calm in the eye of conflict, you do not merely avoid defeat, you command victory. The world is drawn to those who do not panic, to those who do not bend under pressure. They are the ones who appear invincible. When others fall into hysteria, when their voices crack and their judgment falters, you remain a steady presence, unaffected, unwavering, like a mountain amidst a tremor. This is not weakness, it is a mastery few will ever comprehend. It is not about forcing calm into the chaos, it is about becoming the calm. The moment you lose your composure, you lose your power. And in that loss, you become part of the noise, a mere echo in the storm. But when you hold your ground, when you refuse to yield to the tumult around you, you become something greater. You become the force that shapes the outcome. The price of praise, true worth lies in integrity. There is a deceptive ease in flattery, a smooth, almost seductive impulse that tempts the speaker to water down the truth with hollow praise. It is a balm for fragile egos, a quick way to win favor, to gain momentary affection. But in truth, there is a deep, silent poison in this act of false admiration. To flatter is to erase your own worth. To offer praise not born from genuine admiration but from a desire to manipulate, to gain favor, is to surrender your integrity and in the process, degrade the value of your very words. Flattery is a currency, and like any currency, it loses its value when it is used too freely. The more you offer it, the less precious it becomes. It no longer reflects your true judgment, your true feelings. Instead, it becomes a tool, an attempt to smooth the edges of reality, to create a pleasant illusion that dissolves when faced with truth. When you flatter, you do not elevate the other person, you diminish both yourself and them. You show them that your words cannot be trusted, that they are little more than a vehicle for your own hidden agenda. In contrast, the sincere compliment is something rare, something invaluable. It is a reflection of true perception, a moment when you see the essence of the other person, when you acknowledge them for who they truly are without distortion. And this is the highest form of praise, because it costs you something. It costs your honesty, your clarity of mind, your willingness to see the truth without the veil of convenience. To offer a sincere compliment is to make a sacrifice, to give something genuine that cannot be replicated. In a world flooded with empty words and hollow gestures, the honest compliment stands like a beacon. It is remembered long after the meaningless praise has faded into the air. It speaks of value, of discernment, of strength, because the person who offers it is not afraid to face the truth, to speak what is real. They do not need to manipulate with words. They speak from the heart, without pretense, without fear of what might be lost. So never cheapen your words with flattery. Never surrender your integrity for the fleeting warmth of false approval. Offer compliments not as a means to an end, but as an honest reflection of the worth you truly see. In this, your value, and the value of those around you, will endure. The freedom of true charisma, to respect, not to please. There is an undeniable weight in the words, to please everyone. It is a pursuit that most are doomed to chase, yet few realize the empty cost that comes with it. The human condition is laced with the insatiable need for validation, this hunger to be accepted, admired, desired by all. But true charisma does not bend to this desire. It is not swayed by the whims of the crowd, nor does it seek the approval of every passerby. True charisma is not a tool to be wielded for approval. It is a force that stands on its own, independent, unyielding. What would it mean to truly respect others without the burden of needing to be liked by them? To see the world not through the lens of constant approval, but through the sharp clarity of self-assurance? The charismatic individual does not rely on the judgments of others to define their own worth. They do not seek to be adored by all, for they understand the impossible futility of such a pursuit. There will always be those who do not see eye to eye with you, who do not resonate with your presence, your vision. But this does not diminish your value. It reveals your power. Respect is not an invitation for approval. It is a recognition of the unique essence within every individual, a deep acknowledgement of their humanity, their worth, their being. You can respect others without molding yourself to their image, without bending to their expectations. In this space, your charisma becomes even more magnetic, for it is not grounded in the need for their love, but in the freedom of your own self-expression. True strength lies in the ability to stand unwavering, knowing that you do not need to win the favor of every person you encounter. The world is vast, and your energy is not meant to be diluted across it. Your value lies in being unapologetically you, in not asking for permission to exist as you are. The more you chase approval, the less authentic you become. The more you stand for yourself, with respect for all, the more your true self will shine. This is the paradox of charisma. It is not about being liked by everyone, but rather about respecting everyone without the need to mold yourself into something they might find agreeable. In doing so, you create an undeniable presence, a presence that attracts those who align with your essence and repels those who do not. And in this rejection, you will find your power, your freedom, and your authentic self. True charisma is not a reflection of others' approval. It is a testament to your unwavering authenticity. And it is this authenticity that will leave the world drawn to you, not because you seek their affection, but because you stand firmly in your own truth. The power of exit, leaving with the same strength you entered. It is often said that the way you enter a room speaks volumes about who you are. But it is how you leave that defines the lasting impression. Too many spend their energy focused on making a grand entrance, as if the world will remember only their arrival. Yet the true art lies not in the first steps you take, but in the final ones. For it is the exit that carries weight, that seals your presence in the minds of others, and confirms whether your impact was fleeting or enduring. The exit, much like the entrance, is an opportunity, one that too many squander. They leave without grace, without purpose, as if retreating into obscurity is a failure. But there is power in a confident exit. There is strength in departing as boldly as you arrived, in walking away without hesitation, without regret. A person who leaves with confidence does not fade into the background. They leave a final imprint, a resonance that lingers long after they are gone. To leave with strength is to leave with intention. It is to know that the end of your presence is as significant as its beginning. Every step you take is a mark, every gesture an echo. When you depart, let it be with the same unwavering conviction as when you entered. Your exit should not be the whimper of a fading presence, but the resounding conclusion of a meaningful exchange. Your final words, your final glance, the way you carry yourself, these are the remnants of your presence that will be remembered. The truth is, we are all but passing shadows in the grand scheme of time. But how we leave, how we are remembered in the final moments of our interactions, this is what remains etched in the minds of others. A person who exits with purpose, who does not fade away quietly but departs as if the very act of leaving holds weight, becomes someone whose presence endures long after the last step has been taken. Do not let your final moments be an afterthought. Leave as you entered, with grace, with strength, and with an understanding of the impact you have left behind. For in this, you reveal not only your confidence but your mastery over the ebb and flow of presence. The first impression is important, yes, but the last one is the one that lingers. Make it count. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this: charisma is not a gift. It is a mastery of self, a presence that shapes the world around you. Cultivate it with intention, leave your mark with purpose, and never seek approval, for true power lies in authenticity. Step into every room with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth, and leave with the same strength. May you walk through life not as a shadow seeking light, but as a flame that commands attention, respect, and admiration. Embrace your true power, and let the world feel your presence long after you've gone.